Hi everyone, I'm Tami, the creator of this YouTube channel and the blog called Nutmeg Notebook. And this is where we share with you all about our whole food, plant-based lifestyle. And sometimes we have special guests, which we have today. But first, we want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So my partner, Tom, is here. You're not on camera though. He's still doing last minute little tidying up setup over here. So we have Thomas from California Balsamic here. You're going to be able to ask questions in the chat feed while we go live. We just ask that you type in your question with 4 question marks first, then your question, and end with 4 question marks. And that just helps those questions pop out to my husband, Tom, so that he can relay those to Thomas and I. Here he is.
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Say, moderators, if you just give me a quick thumbs up or not on the sound check, since we're kind of barreling into this. I didn't have
Thomas is giving you a thumbs up that it's looking good.
Okay, yeah. So Thomas can hear us on the other end. So anyway, I'm going to check the feed for that.
Yeah, and then at the end, if you have questions other than about California Balsamic, we can let Thomas go and get to his dinner. And Tom and I will be happy to stick around and ask any whole food plant-based questions that you might have. So as many of you know, if you have followed me for any time at all on Facebook or Instagram, or even here on my YouTube channel, I love making chopped salads, and I eat one as as a main meal for one meal every day. And Tom, most days, does that as well. And as you know, I like to work smarter, not harder in the kitchen. And I just do not want to be bothered with having to make salad dressing all the time. And so my favorite thing to dress my salads with are one of the flavors of California Balsamics. And I know you've seen the pictures on Instagram and Facebook of the salads with my vinegar bottle right there. And I can create so many wonderful flavors with that. And there's a flavor to go with whatever ingredients I decide to put in my salad. So today we're really happy to have Thomas Allen from California Balsamic with us. And he is going to be happy to answer your questions about balsamic vinegars. So with no further ado, welcome, Thomas.
Thank you, Tami and Tom. It's a pleasure seeing you guys again. As you know, we met about 2.5 years ago-ish at a festival in Sacramento for the Harvest Festival. And I almost said, you know, I'm too busy to do an interview with you guys right now in the middle of the festival, people everywhere. And I said, no, you talk to this young lady. It's going to be important. And it was, and I've thoroughly enjoyed our friendship ever since.
And I have as well. And you know, we have Chef AJ to thank for bringing you to the plant-based world. In fact, before that festival, she texted me and she said, Thomas Allen from California Balsamic is going to be in Sacramento, and you better go there and see him and buy some vinegars. I was like, okay, the boss has told me what I need to do. But really, you've been so wonderful to have because we're SOS free, which is salt, oil, and sugar free. And these vinegars have just opened up so many possibilities for those of us who follow this lifestyle.
It's really amazing, Tami. You're so right. And I did not know what SOS free meant 2.5 years ago. I had never met Chef AJ until she called me out of the blue on a Tuesday afternoon saying, send me some samples. And I almost said no, because I generally don't work with restaurants. I've worked in restaurants for many, many years. And knowing that restaurants want gallon size bottles, you know, containers, and really cheap, I said, no, we cannot work with you. And she said, oh no, that was my former life. I'm now working with the plant-based community. And with all that, I said, oh, tell me more. And then it was very easy when she asked for a few samples. I said, oh, no problem. I did that, and our world changed forever.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Well, I know your story and how you came to be the owner of California Balsamic in Ukiah, California, but a lot of our listeners may not. So I would love it if you'd share your story with us.
Well, it really started out a about 30 years ago, I was living in Osaka in Japan teaching English. I went over there on a visit just to visit the country. And one of the fellas that I'd met said, "Are you guys, teaching here?" And I didn't know what he was talking about since I was just a tourist. And they said, "Look at the Japan Times newspaper on Monday morning." And I opened it up, and there were near 150 jobs for English teachers in the newspaper on that Monday morning. It took me literally 10 seconds to decide I'm going to move here and teach English. What an adventure that would be. And in doing so, I was living in Osaka. A woman was helping me find companies that I would teach, teaching conversational English for their employees 1 or 2 days a week. And she would go there and negotiate, the classes. And as a thank you gift, I said, "Mrs. Yamasaki, here's a loaf of banana bread that I made just the other night. I would like you to have this as a thank you gift." And she said, she tried it on the spot and said, "This is delicious." And with that, she said, "If you like to cook, a friend of mine is the manager at the Osaka Culinary Academy, and they have been looking for an American to teach American cuisine. Would you be interested in coming with me to interview for the job?" And I thought, what the heck? Why not? Let's go. So we went there. The three of us sat down in a small office. I don't drink coffee, but I did that day. They came out with a tray of coffee. And for the first time in my life, I drank a cup of coffee. And I now know why people are going bonkers over caffeine. And with that conversation, after 15 minutes of the two of them speaking Japanese, and I didn't understand a word of it, she leaned over to me and said, "Thomas, you've got the job." And I said, "Well, I didn't say anything." I was an American, I could teach, and I had a Betty Crocker cookbook. I'm qualified.
Did you have any previous experience teaching cooking classes or?
No, I have no qualifications to teach any kind of culinary classes, none at all. My mother was a wonderful cook. My grandmother baked all sorts of delicious breads when I was a kid. And at one point, I just said, I don't really want to eat fast food anymore. In college, I said, that's it. I'm not eating fast food anymore. The aha moment. And I said, I'm going to start cooking for myself from that day. And from that day forward, I've always done my own cooking. And so I've just learned to enjoy it. And so by the time we got to do the classes at the academy, I taught there for only 1 year. And finally, I said I needed to get back to the States to begin a career. I was 39 when I left Japan. I lived in Japan over a 6-year period, about 4.5 years of actual living in Osaka and Tokyo, because I would work for 6 to 8 months and then take off and go to Hong Kong for 6 weeks, come back to Japan, work for another 6 to 8 months, pop over to Australia or New Zealand or anywhere in Asia because it's in my backyard. And if I don't take advantage of it, I'll just kick myself. So I popped over to Nepal and India and Hong Kong, Korea, and just traveled all over and had an absolute wonderful time doing that. But coming back to the States, I realized that I needed to, get a career going. And a friend of mine from college in Kalamazoo, Michigan, was then living in Walnut Creek, California, in the East Bay of San Francisco. And she said, I just heard you came back to the States. Why don't you come out and stay with me for about 3 months? That'll give you enough time to find a job, find a place to live, and you'll be nearby, and we'll have friends nearby. So I thought, what the heck, why not? I've always heard wonderful things about Northern California. So I lived with her for 3 months, and just before the 3-month period was up, I opened the San Francisco Chronicle, and there in the businesses for sale section was a little tiny article saying specialty food manufacturer for sale, ideal for owner operator in the Northern wine country, call this number. And my heartbeat tripled on the spot. And with that, I called them. Turned out the fellow people were super nice. And when I told them my background of the academy, they said, please come up and I want to show you the business. And 6 weeks later, I signed a formal agreement that I would buy the business. At the time, it was Tres Classique Specialty Foods. And Carolyn Bacon was the original owner. She made a line of dessert sauces, dressings, and marinades. And over 30 days, she taught me how to make one flavor every day for 1 month.
Oh my gosh.
And that was my training. And she said, after the 30 days was over, good luck, you're on your own. And with that, but then again, I needed to get a loan from the bank. And this is a little story I don't think you're familiar with.
Okay.
To get a loan from the bank, they wanted to know my qualifications. And I told them that I had been an instructor at the Osaka Culinary Academy. They said, could you prove that? And at the moment, I thought to myself, no way, shape, or form do I have anything from the academy. But at the last second, I realized in my briefcase, at that exact moment, I had a tax receipt from the Osaka tax ward with my name on it. And I confidently reached into my briefcase, pulled out my tax form and said, this is my certificate from the Osaka Culinary Academy. It was all in Japanese with my name on it. They looked at it, looked at each other and said, sounds good to us. And with that, they gave me a loan to buy the business because I had a tax receipt.
Oh, that is so funny, Thomas. That's just like serendipity, how everything just like fell into place for you for years and years and years. You've had such an adventurous life. So after the first 30 days and you learned how to make all that stuff, were you still excited? Were you still like, okay, I can do this?
Well, I was confident that I could actually make the recipes. It's the selling the product now. That's the hard part. And sure enough, within about a year of taking over the business, Bruce and Carolyn were originally in over 400 stores nationwide. They had 6 distributors, 400 stores, and they had a wonderful track record of being a profitable business. And within 1 year, I had lost all my distributors. I lost my sales reps. They went in with another line of salad dressings. And I went from wonderful sales to virtually no sales in 1 year. And of course, I am now in major panic mode. I don't know what to do. My dad is giving me I told you not to buy that business, and I said, I am going to figure this out, any way, shape, or form that I can. And it turned around with the San Francisco Culinary Academy, sending me a fax, inviting me to become a vendor at the first annual street festival in downtown San Francisco at the Culinary Institute. Come down and sell your products to the general public. It's only for 1 day. It was only $100 for a booth fee. And I thought, what the heck? I've only really had about 3 more months worth of income to keep the business going. So I thought, what the heck? Let's just do it. I went down to San Francisco. I didn't have a tent. I didn't have any bags to put bottles in. The things that I didn't have was a very long list because I had no clue what I was doing. But I sampled the dressings and the marinades that I had, and I took 20 cases with me. And at the end of the day, I had 2 cases left. And I had sold 18 of my 20 cases. And I knew that we had a delicious product. I just needed a venue to sell them. And with that, I went to the Sonoma Farmers Market, the Healdsburg Farmers Market, the farmers markets that were within an hour and a half away from Ukiah. Since our little town is so small, we're 2 hours north of San Francisco, up in the wine country. And I started doing the farmers markets, and one thing led to another, to bigger street festivals. And the business started to flourish with the festivals and farmers markets.
That's great. And did you have the flavored balsamic vinegars then as well when you first started?
For the first, I'll say the first 10 years, we did not. One of my customers, a young lady by the name of Chambier, she lived in downtown Sonoma. She was a regular customer of mine at the Sonoma Farmers Market. And she asked me one day, would I ever consider selling balsamic vinegars and olive oils? And I said, well, not really. I don't much care for olive oils. So, but she said, I can help you. I was the manager at Vianza Winery in Sonoma, and she was running the olive oil and balsamic section of the gift shop. And I said, well, if you know how to do this, well, then yeah, let's try. And so we found a supplier of oils and some balsamic vinegars, and it was just trying to see what people liked. But it was really when I made my first balsamic vinegar and oil for a bread dipping vinaigrette that you would see at any Italian restaurant. I made some of those. I never tried it myself. For the first 2 weeks I was selling it. I sold out each weekend. I was selling it, but I didn't realize that balsamic vinegar could be sweet. And I always had vinegar in my mind. You pour it into water and you wash your windows. That's as far as vinegar goes with me. And so with that, I actually tried it and realized this is delicious. And we started more and more. And when we made our first lemon essential oil and white balsamic, we called that Lemon Splash. That one product catapulted at every festival we did that year in 2003. In Tempe, Arizona, I took that combination of oil and vinegar to the festival. I think I had 4 cases of it. And before the festival was half over, it was completely sold out. And I knew I had a big hit on my hand. And with that, festivals on average doubled in sales. And I said, I need more of this kind of product. And with that, we just started developing more and more flavors. And we really wanted to do ones that were more unique. Everybody who sells balsamic vinegar has fig and pomegranate and all the fruit flavors. It was really coming up with fresh ingredients that I knew was going to make us stand out. And it was first a fresh garlic balsamic, of which we call now Gilroy garlic. And because Gilroy is the world capital of garlic, if anybody knows that.
Right here in California.
And then in turn became, we started doing the garlic balsamic, and then we added just a little bit of fresh peppers. The original name for our garlic and fresh peppers was a name that I wish I hadn't done. We called it habanero. Sounds like habanero, but we used fresh habaneros and fresh serranos. Well, habanero and serranos turned into habanero. No one pronounced it properly. And but it was an absolute delicious product. But the balsamic vinegar we started off with, although 18 years ago, it was 6% acidity. And I knew anytime that I used my own balsamic, my jaw would ache because I'm sensitive to acidity, and a high acidity balsamic just made my jaw hurt. So I rarely used my own product, even though I liked the flavor of it. It was just too tart for me. And 10 years ago, when my original supplier of balsamic vinegars, they wanted to go into the franchising industry, they told me, Thomas, you have to become a franchisee of our corporation. You cannot be independent any longer. You have to pay a big franchise fee. You have to not sell your own products. You can only sell what we give you to sell. And I said, absolutely not. So I said, I'll find another supplier. Thank you for your balsamic that I was using at the time. And we've had a wonderful run with your product. I'll find another supplier. And my darling bride, Ethel, was the one who found our supplier that we have now. And the balsamic is only 4% acidity, making it significantly less tart. And this one just happens to be significantly sweeter, richer, and thicker than my original line was. And the first little tiny drop I put on my finger and tried it, I knew that was the balsamic. It was the best balsamic I had ever had by far. And I knew that we had found our new flavor, and California Balsamic has been on a absolute rocket ship ever since.
Now, how many flavors do you have now? Do you know?
Offhand, I do not, but I know I have 33 SOS flavors, and I think there's another 9 vinaigrettes and probably 8 olive oils. So that's going to be somewhere in the low 50s. Is about right.
And you were telling me that on your website now, you have a wealth of recipes, SOS-free recipes as well that people can look at, because people are always wanting inspiration for how to use these vinegars.
We have had so many people, we ask our customers, please send us recipes. If you've got a recipe that you like, please send it to us. But working with Chef AJ and doing a monthly broadcast with her, Tuesday with Thomas, the first Tuesday of every month, we ask our customers to give us some recipes that we'll use on the air. And of course, we bribe them a little bit by giving each person who donates a recipe 2 8-ounce bottles as a thank you gift. At that point, we've added around 30 or 35 recipes just in the last 6 months. And then we had so many other ones before that. Now we're up to 75 or 80 that are on our site now, and another 20 recipes that are ready to be added to it. So we'll be hitting 100 recipes in the very near future. So
yeah, and
that's very
at
exciting.
CaliforniaBalsamic.com. And I think Tom's got a question for you.
Yes, you're talking about recipes here. Stephanie Spear is asking, what are your suggestions recipe-wise for uses with her new favorite? I've not heard of this one. Crisp cucumber balsamic.
Oh, don't you talk about that.
Today, I made a salad dressing using it with local spicery, Hestia Greek herb blend, so light and refreshing.
So she must have got one of your test bottles.
Yes, she
You
did.
Didn't have her sign the non-disclosure. Oh my goodness.
Now that is funny,
Stephanie,
because
after the show, you're going to have to say for a special session.
as it turns out, because we've lost all of the street festivals, last year we didn't go to any street festivals. The year before, 2019, we would average going to 70 to 75 festivals a year. My wife Ethel, myself, and our manager Patrick would go to all these street festivals as well as doing our local farmers market. So we were busy going to all these events. We would take new flavors and ask people, please give us some feedback on any new flavor that we were test marketing. We would get 100 people easily in a day sampling a new product and getting feedback. Well, boom, all of the festivals disappear. And the only way we're going to get feedback is by sending out little samples of our flavors to our customers and asking them. So she's got one of our
well ahead of the curve then from the rest of us.
So we will not be introducing our crisp cucumber balsamic for several months. And it breaks my heart because we have the recipe, we have labels for it, but because, as I told Tami earlier, we're just too busy. And that particular recipe means we have to peel 10 cucumbers, chop them up, put them in a Cuisinart, blend them to a puree, add that to the balsamic vinegar, blend it, pour it, and now it's ready to go. So it is absolutely fresh, crisp cucumber that's in the balsamic.
But it's labor intensive.
It will take time to do that. And right now our kitchen is overwhelmed, and we're not going to introduce that flavor until realistically we hire another employee that can help doing that one
Stephanie,
flavor.
That's a bigger answer maybe than you bargained for. So, but there's not currently recipes for that vinegar because it's not technically available. Our moderator, Tiffany, was asking with all of these earlier, with all of these flavors you have and all the recipes you have, do you have favorites that come and go? Do you have a favorite vinegar? One of my fallback is Gilroy garlic, typically. and Tammy's always into the Simply Lemon.
I love
So,
that.
so we, we tend to go through some, and then she's a big fan of sweet heat. So,
Well, and 7 Italian herbs. And I mean, so like when people ask me on Facebook or Instagram, tell me what your favorite vinegars are, I start listing them because, I use different ones for different things. And then I say, I haven't met one that I don't like. And that is the honest truth. Every one of them I enjoy.
Evidently, Randy, one of our other moderators, had commented here earlier in the chat feed that she has a vinegar surplus problem in her kitchen because of all the flavors.
Well, I won't even show them the pantry where I keep mine. I have literally a whole
An
shelf
entire shelf
in the pantry.
It's this wide,
Yeah,
that tall, and it's vinegars all the way across.
now, what we like to now, as far as my personal favorites, that's easy. Sweet Heat is my all-time favorite of our balsamic vinegars. But recently, I've taken to, and I'm sure Tami, you've done the same thing. I'm blending different flavors together. And for me, my new favorite combination is the Sweet Heat blended with the ruby red onion. Because how can you go wrong with fresh garlic, fresh peppers, and fresh red onions? And then I do that on anything savory that I have, whether it's portobello mushroom that's stuffed with all sorts of cooked veggies, and I put that on a bed of greens, and I simply put both the Sweet Heat and ruby red onion on that. I especially enjoy it now that we're in better weather. I love kebabs on the grill. And I'll just brush the Sweet Heat on kebabs on the grill. And vegetable stir fries are always my go-to whenever I need something. And when we make that, Ethel and I, we make a lot. I want massive leftovers. So I can take the leftover stir fries to work for lunch, as well as to share it with other of our employees. But the Sweet Heat and ruby red onion, they're my favorites. But you can combine the ruby red onion with the Gilroy garlic, or the teriyaki with garlic and ginger, or the blazing habanero. All of those are basically the same, fresh garlic with something else, and then the ruby red onion. So
yeah,
they all work.
I like to blend for my salads, the Simply Lemon and the ruby red onion. And the first time I blended, it was a mistake because I love these little travel bottles. And I take these in my lunchbox because we make our lunch and then we take it with us when we go to watch our grandkids. And I just take the big bottles and keep refilling them. Well, I was refilling the Gilroy garlic, but by mistake, I had grabbed the teriyaki. And so it had half teriyaki and half Gilroy garlic in it. And I thought, well, that's okay. I'm just going to shake it up and see how it tastes. And it was fantastic. And that's how I started blending them to begin with. But you're right. They just marry together really well. And the Sweet Heat, I love because that goes with like Mexican food. I'll put it on plain vegetables. In fact, I have pictures to show you, but Tom's got a question for us.
Oh, yeah, we do have some pictures.
I have pictures.
Okay.
I have show and tell.
There is a question about packaging size that from Sandra. Would you ever consider packaging the vinegar in larger bottles? Those big ones are a pretty standard size from any vendor I've seen.
So what sizes do you have?
Right now, we have 5 different sizes. The smallest ones, as on your table, the 1.6 ounce, we call those stocking stuffers because we put 2 of those in with every order. So those are the little stocking stuffers. The next size bigger is the 3 ounce bottle. And we call those travel bottles because they are TSA friendly. You can put them in carry-on luggage. So that's really nice. The next size larger is a 5 ounce bottle, which I have a 5 ounce bottle somewhere. Tami, do you have a 5 ounce bottle in front of you?
I don't think I do. I think
Here's one.
I don't
There,
have any that small.
this is a 5-ounce bottle. It's actually the bottle that you would get if you got Tabasco sauce. And it's exactly the same bottle. So these are 5 ounces. And then the square bottles are 8 ounces. And the largest is the 12.7 ounce. We used to do a 500 ml bottle, which was 16.9 ounces, but the bottles were just not strong enough. And when we shipped them, they often broke. And we just said, this is a disaster. So we eliminated the 16.9 ounce bottle and then started the 1.6 ounce, the much smaller one, because we realized that people wanted the little mini bottles to make up variety packs. Mm-hmm. So on our site, we have a little mini bottle, 6-pack, 10-pack, or 18-pack. And we send those out constantly because people just want to try several small bottles. And it's an inventory nightmare having 50 different flavors in 5 sizes. That's no fun at all.
So what about international shipping?
We do often ship the Chef AJ sampler, which is 5 of the travel bottles. Mm-hmm. And that also comes with 2 of the free little samples. So it's a grand total of $47 for the Chef AJ sampler, and you can choose any of the 5 flavors you want. Then you also get to choose your 2 little free samples. Shipping on that to anywhere in the world is $27. When you get up to 3, 4, 5 pounds or more, the shipping goes just through the roof expensive. So we pretty much say that we'll ship the Chef AJ sampler anywhere in the world for $27. And we have since shipped to Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Singapore. We got a text from a young lady in Latvia the other day. So because of YouTube and your programs and Chef AJ's, you're seeing customers worldwide, and we are now shipping these worldwide, but we don't want to send glass bottles overseas. They're just too heavy and the shipping is just too expensive. So pretty much the only thing we want to ship is the little sampler.
And then our window just went away. So anyway, Randy was asking if there was a change in the bottles from the 12.7 ounce. She noticed, there's kind of like slightly different shaped bottles there on the big ones, but they're all the same size, 12.7.
Oh, like this
see,
one.
This is a more of a different,
Oh, did you just get
glass.
different? This is what she's talking about. This bottle and this bottle.
And the teriyaki.
A little bit different.
So because of imports coming in from Taiwan and China, where most of the glass is made, we're at the mercy of our glass suppliers, and we don't want to change our bottle shapes, believe me. But if that's my only option is to take what they have at the time, then we get whatever we can get, and that's the bane of any small business. We don't buy enough volume to get 30 or 40 pallets at a time. You got to put it somewhere, and we just don't have the space to do that. So we get 1 or 2 pallets at a time of different sizes of glass. And the 3 bottles that you have on your table, the first one's the chocolate, the teriyaki, and the simply lemon, are all from the same supplier and a different shape every time. And those are in the last 8 months. So it really is infuriating to have that, but it's the way it is.
Yeah, and I think too, just with the pandemic, it's been more difficult too. I've talked to other vendors from other companies that are also having difficulty getting their standard, either their boxes or the jars or whatever it is that they need. And so they're just having to, make do with whatever they can get at this point. So Tom, have you gotten the chat back yet?
I left a message and I'm waiting for a reply.
Okay. Well, as long as they can keep hearing us, I'm gonna keep talking.
Okay.
So I got a question from Carrie, and she wanted to know what goes good with the chocolate balsamic. And we love to make any flavor of like fruit sorbet or banana and ice cream, where you just use the frozen fruit. And of course, we put it through the Champion juicer, or you can make it in the Vitamix or the food processor, and then just drizzle that vinegar over the top of it. And it is amazing. It's like having an ice cream sundae, or with strawberries or raspberries or blackberries, or a combination of all of those, and some of it drizzled over the top. Well, what do you like to do with the chocolate?
Well, just like you said, we take a banana, slice it vertical, butterfly it open, put the chocolate balsamic on the flat edge of it, and pop the banana under the broiler for 5 minutes. So it caramelizes. And that is just wonderful for a dessert that you can do. On our website, though, there's also a recipe using the chocolate balsamic with I don't think it's an acorn squash, I believe it's a kabocha pumpkin with the chocolate balsamic baked in that. And that's a unique way to do that, which I would never have thought of doing. But again, it's a recipe from our wonderful customers. That
sounds delicious. Well, you can't go wrong. A drizzle of it over a chocolate brownie with some banana and ice cream. I mean, it's like the best, absolutely the best. And then is it going to be safe for you to do pictures? Mm-hmm. Can you do pictures? Okay, great. I want to show some pictures to give people ideas, Thomas, of what I like to do with the vinegars. So Tom's going to put a picture up for us. Here it goes. Yay. So we love to do, we call them nourish bowls, but they're also called Buddha bowls, where you just take a grain and a bean or and some greens, or, a combination of whatever you like, and put it all in a bowl. And because I don't want to spend a lot of time fussing in the kitchen making sauces, I'll just take one of the balsamic vinegars and put it over the top. Now, the sweet heat, Gilroy garlic, those are really delicious over this. Or if you like the heat, do I have one? Do I have the hot one out? Maybe I don't. I don't think I do have it out. But your habanero, if people like, yeah, there you go.
Blazing habanero, that's the spiciest.
Yeah, that's the spiciest one. And that is really, really good. And if you want it to not be quite so spicy, you can cut it a little bit with the Gilroy garlic. It goes really good with that one as well. But you just drizzle, and you only need like a tablespoon, over the top. And that makes it really delicious. So you're going to give me another one? So this was from last summer when we were growing tomatoes. And that's one of our big juicy tomatoes. And then we also grow a couple different kinds of basil, and just put the basil on there, and then the ruby red onion just drizzled over the top of it, and just, a sweet potato that we air fry. And we love for dessert. I think I have a dessert one to show you with the sweet potato. But that's just so delicious. And that the vinegar just changes the flavor of it. So do you have another one for me? There we go. So this is just a deconstructed, I call it deconstructed sushi roll. So it's a sushi bowl. So it just has rice, and then, I chop up a lot of vegetables, especially in the summertime, for us to use for spring rolls. But instead of doing the spring roll and going to the work of wrapping it, or of making vegan sushi, this is my lazy girls version. And I just put everything in a bowl. And so I have cucumbers and shredded carrots and red cabbage and red bell pepper. And then the grain, it could have been oats, because I use a lot of oat groats, but it could also be brown rice or quinoa, whatever you want. And then the fresh herbs, cilantro, mint, and basil just chopped up in the middle, and some black sesame seeds and some regular sesame seeds, and then a little bit of the teriyaki vinegar over the top. Is so delicious. And you could mix that with the garlic, and that it's like better than takeout. Trust me. So good. Tom, can you give me the next one?
Not right now, no.
No.
Well, almost. Hang on.
He says, no, I can't. But this is
did it switch?
It did not. But this is just like super delicious, super easy to do. And if you have all those veggies already cut up and in the refrigerator, then it's really fast and fun. It's a fun meal. And look at all that color. Who couldn't love that?
I am a big fan of fruit flavored balsamic on my salads, savory flavored balsamics on my vegetables. That's
Yes.
how I've always been and will continue doing that. Just that's me.
Yeah, well, it's delicious. It's a great way to do it. And then it makes it super simple too. Why is that going so slow, I wonder?
Well, it keeps reloading, so I'm waiting for the next. Is that the one that's up there already?
Yeah, that's the one we just did that one.
Okay.
So we just need the next one.
Okay, I'm going quick.
Okay.
You didn't take it. Oh, there it is. It took it.
Oh yeah, so this is another one. And so this is, I just take and saute, a water saute, a bunch of greens and whatever vegetables. I kind of like clean out my refrigerator. And so this is red cabbage and shredded carrots and broccoli slaw. And then I buy those power greens at Costco, but also the regular grocery stores sell bags of power greens. And then just some pinto beans. They could be canned pinto beans. Those were some that I made in the pressure cooker, and then some brown rice. And then you can choose whatever flavor of vinegar you want to just go over the top of that. I happen to love Mexican. So, sweet heat and the garlic, Gilroy garlic are really delicious over that. But, it's super easy. So this is what I do. I will take and make a huge, because you were talking about leftovers, I'll take and make a huge pan of those vegetables. That pan is 5.5 quart pan, and I'll just throw everything in. And when the little tomatoes start getting kind of puckery, they're not going bad. They're just starting to dehydrate. And if you throw them in there, they'll work, magic and make everything super flavorful. And then I'll divide those up into containers and put them in the fridge. And so then I can just pull a container out and heat it up, add a grain to it, and vinegar, bam, that's a meal. Just, so fast and easy. You got another one for me, Tom?
Yep, right here, this guy.
I just did that one.
Oh.
It still looks good.
Oh, it does look good. And so this, we have a little vegan restaurant, and this is called the Tami's Special. And they put it on it's not up on the board menu, but it's in their computer, and the chef knows how to make it. And so it is just vegetable saute, and it has garlic in it, and they don't use any oil. And it's just made with vegetable broth and a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it. And then I take my little travel bottle of teriyaki. I keep one in the car so that I always have it. So if we decide last minute to go pick this up, or to, like the other day, we actually ate there since, it's safe to do that now. And I'll just pour my teriyaki vinegar over the top of it, and it's fantastic. So, and I love to take them with us when we travel, because when we travel, oftentimes the only thing I can get is something fairly plain. Sometimes it's even really hard to find something healthy at some of the vegan restaurants. But if I can get some steamed vegetables and a grain, and I have some of your flavored vinegars with me, then I can dress anything up and have it taste delicious.
Now, one thing you have to be aware of when you're taking your little travel bottles with you, at some point in time, you're going to have a couple travel bottles left over that you might not want to order a bigger bottle for that. And you can still use these little bottles because they're absolutely wonderful to put in your favorite toiletries. So you can rinse it out really well, put in liquid soap, lotion, shampoo, conditioner. It really works nicely. Now, when I do that, because my darling bride Ethel and I were constantly on the road going to street festivals, on average 2 or 3 a month, year round, we would, when we put them into our toiletry bag, we would take the top off, put a little piece of plastic over the top, and then put the top back on. Just one more little extra layer of safety, which is something that I recommend you to do when you've got liquid soap or something like that. But the other thing that you need to do, if you take this on a flight and you've got Head and Shoulders in your little bottle, don't take off the label, because if you take the label off, the TSA doesn't know the volume of the bottle, and they can confiscate it because it doesn't say 3 ounces. They might think it's 4 ounces. And sorry, no label on it, no manufacturer's label. It might say Head and Shoulders or liquid soap or conditioner, but it doesn't have a manufacturer's label on it. So this way you can have your bottle, but keep the label on there. I always put a rubber band around it, put a little something on the back of the bottle saying conditioner or something like that. But you just need to be careful, because a young lady fessed up that she had poured liquid soap all over her vegetable stir fry for her family by accident, and they were just, she hasn't heard the end of it. So that was probably a year and a half ago, and she still hasn't heard the end of it from her kids.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, those are really good tips.
Okay, which picture do you want?
I love that. That is so funny. Yeah. How about?
Because we just left off with the.
Oh yeah. This. How about this one?
Okay.
That's good. See. So this is, this gets posted a lot on Instagram and Facebook, because I like to take a picture of the vinegar with my salad behind it to show people, you know, what I'm doing
same here.
with it. Yeah. And then the same here, the garden dill and mustard seed. That's one of my favorites for summer. That is just such a great summer flavor.
And Tami, I want to talk about the flavors. The garden dill mustard seed and the 7-herb Italian has the bottles have a boatload of wonderful herbs, all fresh at the top of the bottle, because, well, they float. And so in order to not, because you want to blend up everything that's in the bottle, shaking a bottle up and down is not good, because there's not enough room in the top of the bottle to get all the ingredients to emulsify in here, to completely blend. So what I always recommend is to hold the bottle dead center, and then take the bottle and go the top of the bottle, make it go from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 9 to 3, back and forth like this, as quick as you can. And that way it blends the herbs inside. Now, when that happens, especially for the dill mustard seed and the 7-herb Italian, the very first time you wiggle it back and forth, some of the herbs are going to shoot up to the top of the bottle just underneath the cap, and they're going to stay there. And when you take the lid off and pop open the top of the bottle, there's a plug of herbs. So what you want to do is take a toothpick and stir them up. And once there's a little opening for the air to come out of the bottle and the herbs to fall down, the herbs will fall down back into the bottle. Close it, shake it up again, and then open the top and see if the plug is still there. You might have to do this 2 or even 3 times before the herbs are finally incorporated into the bottle. But you need to do that. It's important. And the one most important thing that people that they forget to do is they forget to lick the toothpick. Don't waste a drop.
Great tips. I love that. Well, I usually use it like a chopstick. I have a chopstick that I'll use to do that, to unplug the very top of it.
And that way you have more to lick.
That's right. That's right. How about the one of all those salads? No, we've already did that one. That one.
We
there.
must have jumped ahead somehow.
Oh, well, we
Okay.
probably did jump ahead. So here are just some of my salads. And on all of these, I use California Balsamic. Grapefruit, simply lemon, ruby red onion, sweet heat. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just like, you know, it's the flavor of the day, whatever sounds good that day. Oh, let's show the dessert. Show this one. And so I have a cherry peach cobbler recipe on the blog. And that's cherry banana ice cream that we made to go on top of it, just all frozen fruit. But after I put the cherries and the peaches in the dish, I add some balsamic vinegar, and it's just like whatever flavor I feel like that day. It could be pomegranate, it could be fig, any of them are good. It doesn't matter. And I don't know what it does. It only takes about a teaspoon and a half, but it really just adds something, because as the juices come out while it's baking, it just gets super delicious. And then you top it with that banana cherry ice cream, and it's amazing. And then this is one of my favorites. So this is chocolate banana ice cream. And then when fresh figs are in season at the farmer's market, I'll buy them. I slice them in half, put them in the air fryer, and just let them get so they kind of bubble up just a little bit, and then put them on top of the chocolate banana ice cream, and then drizzle some of the chocolate balsamic over the top. And it is like you have died and gone to heaven, because it's so decadent.
And you're caramelizing the fruit and bringing out the natural juices of that. That's spectacular. I've always loved putting pineapple on the grill to bring out the flavor of that, and then a little balsamic over the top of that. Always my favorite.
And you can do peaches if you want to do peaches instead. You can do, I've done a lot of different fruits in the air fryer, and it just caramelizes the natural sugars that are in the fruit and just makes them more intense and delicious. And then I love to take a cold Japanese sweet potato. I batch cook everything. And so I'll, do a whole tray of them at the beginning of the week. And then it changes the texture and the starch. And so when you take it out cold and you cut it in half and then score it and put it in the air fryer, 400 degrees for like 20 minutes with a little bit of cinnamon, it does the same thing to the Japanese sweet potato. And then I'll just choose usually like one of the fruity vinegars, and just drizzle it over the top. And then it'll run down through those little slits. And that's dessert. Like every bite is just incredibly delicious. Oh yeah, this one. Got to show this one. So this one I call an apple fritter. Kind of the same thing. So this is a Japanese sweet potato, and I put slices of banana on it, very ripe banana, and then thin slices of apple, sprinkle cinnamon and nutmeg. Got to have nutmeg, right? Nutmeg Notebook, got to have nutmeg. And I'll just put it in the air fryer. And if you don't have an air fryer, you guys, you can do the same thing with your broiler. You just want to watch it really carefully, and then drizzle like the fig, the pomegranate. This is pomegranate vinegar on this one. And this is incredibly delicious because the banana gets all hot and creamy, and then the apple cooks, and it is delightful. I mean, there's no stopping with the vinegars. There's so much you can do. And the 7-herb Italian, that will be really good with tomatoes this summer. And Tom has quite the tomato garden going for us. And I love it in my salads. It's so delicious, you guys. And that you're using the 7-herb Italian seasoning from Local Spicery.
Our friend Nick at localspicery.com, I use his pumpkin spice for our pumpkin spice balsamic, the 7-herb Italian. We use that. We're going to use his sun-dried tomato powder when we get that one going here in the near future. And the other one we just started making just 5 weeks ago is our brand new Persian lime balsamic. And it turns out Nick buys the actual Persian limes that are grown in Turkey. In Turkey, they're grown, but they're completely dried. And they're much smaller. He said they're about the size of a ping pong ball. And I went, that's really tiny. They're completely dried, imported into California to his facility, where he puts them through his milling process and grinds the dried Persian limes. And it turns out that the inside of a Persian lime is almost black. And that's why the Persian lime is so dark, but this is clear white balsamic vinegar with Nick's Persian lime spice. Now, on his website, he mixes the lime with peppers, but I've asked him to not put the peppers in with the lime. So he customizes it for us, for our purposes. And we're very grateful for him for doing that.
Yeah, and this is delicious. How do you like to use it?
Generally using it on anything Mexican cuisine because it's lime out there, especially with some avocado. That's the most popular, but it's a wonderful citrus. So I'm going to put it on a salad just like I would the lemon.
Yeah, and it has a pretty pronounced lime flavor to it, which I really like. It's delicious. Tom has another question for us.
Charlene is asking, are you going to be attending, since things are starting to break loose, any of the farmers markets in Sonoma County this summer?
Not in Sonoma
What's your
County.
travel schedule looking like? We know you're going to Fresno soon.
So Clovis Big Hat Day is in June. We're going up to, at the end of July, we're going to be in Washington, Tri-Cities in Richland. At the end of July, they have a festival in the park in Richland the same weekend as the hydroplane races. We've been going to that event for many, many years. So if you're up in Eastern Washington, anywhere near Tri-Cities, we'll be there. You can look on our website to see what festivals we'll be doing.
Okay, so check the website and
Correct.
and to keep track of where they're going to be. Kathleen is asking, is there? I know that the balsamic vinegars have natural sugars in them. So her question is there sugar in the chocolate? Well, all the vinegars have some natural sugar content, but you're not adding sugar to anything.
We would be shot by Chef AJ if we put any processed sugar in
Not
any
shot,
of our products.
Shot. Okay.
And so, no, we don't put any processed sugar in there. The actual flavorings of the chocolate has no processed sugar. The actual chocolate flavoring has no sweetness at all to it. It's actually kind of, not I would say bitter, but all the sweetness comes from our balsamic vinegar. A tablespoon of balsamic that's white is 7 grams of sugars, natural sugars, and 7 carbs, whereas the dark balsamic has 7 grams of sugars and 8 carbs per tablespoon.
Per se, and is 1 tablespoon considered a serving then?
Generally, yes, but it depends on how big. If your chopped salad is supersized, then you might need 2 or 3 tablespoons.
Okay.
And I find because I don't eat sugar, I find that, even the chocolate one to me tastes sweet. Just because the low acidity and the thickness of them, they taste sweet to me.
Okay.
So I find like the chocolate one doesn't need sugar because it's already sweet enough, but it has just that little bit of tartness to it. So it's a nice contrast when you're putting it over like the banana and ice cream.
Thomas, there's a question about, I guess there's a pandemic answer and a pre-pandemic answer about folks visiting your facility in Ukiah. Do you have a little bit of retail front, or is it all internet at this point? Or is there a little front shop to visit?
Over the last, I'll say about a month, ever since things have been opening up a little bit, we have a great big stop sign that we bought at a little antique shop that's an actual stop sign. And we put a sign on saying, please don't come in. You're welcome to, we'll bring anything out, curbside service. We've been doing that all last year. Now, just recently, we have started allowing people to come in. Now, people think that we're a store, and we are anything but a store. We are a manufacturing facility. When you walk in the door, there'll be 2 people packing boxes on your right. There'll be 2 more people packing boxes on the left side of the building. In straight back is our commercial kitchen, where we have 2 or 3 different people pouring, and we pour virtually everything by hand. This is as low tech, inefficient way to do it as possible, but we do everything in 4.5 gallon batches. So 4.5 gallons doesn't take long to pour. So we'll make anywhere from 1 to 3 buckets of any one flavor, depending on what we need at the time. but 7-herb Italian, oh, we do at least 4 to 5 buckets a week of that one. Sweet heat is 3 to 4 buckets. Chef AJ told me when I first developed the 7-herb Italian, she told me, Thomas, this will become your best-selling product. And it took about 8 months. And yes, it is. It is our best-selling product.
That's great.
Okay, let's see. Commentary on our outage. I don't know what Thomas was doing while we were gone, because he was on screen the entire time. So I don't know. I hope you were entertaining while we were gone.
I was just fiddling around going, well, I don't know what's happening here. And
so
I just kind of
go in. I'll be able.
You can go in and edit that out.
I'll be able to take that clip out, so we don't need to spend too much time on it now. But I think that there was a bandwidth issue here. I think we have a Nutmeg Notebook bandwidth issue because except that computer's hardwired, so I don't get it. So my apologies to everybody for that outage thing. But
we have no idea what happened.
But I'm gonna be talking.
Do you have more questions?
Comcast about our.
Hey, Thomas, I'm curious. How did you and Ethel meet, and will we ever be able to get her on screen? She is so adorable.
My darling bride Ethel, I met 21 years ago at a festival in downtown Los Angeles, one of our many Harvest Festival Christmas Craft Show tour, the same festival where we met. And she and her partner, Cecily, they were making ceramics, handmade, just different types of beautiful ceramics. And we just met each other. We saw each other at festivals for many, many years. She lived 500 miles south of me in Los Angeles, and I was up here in Ukiah. And over the years, we just were friends, as we have so many vendor friends that we see on weekends. And finally, I asked her out on a date about 11 years ago. And she said, oh, absolutely not. Thomas, you are geographically undesirable. As much of a nice person you are, you live too far away. Sorry, this is not going to happen. So eventually I said, well, why don't I come down to Los Angeles? I'll get a hotel room. I'll stay there. We'll hang out for a weekend. And that was that. And with that, we we just hung out for a weekend, and we've been together ever since that weekend. But for 4.5 years, I drove back and forth between Ukiah and Los Angeles just to visit. But we saw each other usually 2 or 3 weekends a month at the festivals. Yeah. And on off weekends, then I would pop down and spend a weekend with her. But she moved to Ukiah about 7 years ago. And we got married 4 years ago. And it's been wonderful.
Well, you guys are adorable together, and that is quite the story. Okay, Tom's got another question.
I had a couple questions for you. Sue's asking real quickly: is the event in Washington at the Art in the Park event?
It is. That is exactly it.
So that's a quick answer to that. And then Karen is asking, do you have any plans to take California Balsamics into supermarkets?
We have learned our lesson. We got into a few Whole Foods markets a few years ago. And by getting into Whole Foods is an extraordinarily time-consuming process. They want to know every one of your suppliers. They want to know every ingredient that is going to go into any flavor that is going to be on their shelves. And after 6 or 7 months, we got into 2 Bay Area Whole Foods markets with, I think, about 6 or 7 flavors. And after about 4 months, I contacted the managers of each store and said, do you need to reorder anything? It's been several months now, and there was only 6 bottles of balsamic per flavor on the shelves. And they said, well, actually, we have not sold a single bottle of any of your flavors. And I knew in my heart that I'm not surprised, because Whole Foods, as wonderful as a store as it is, it has at least 60 or 70 different varieties of oil and balsamic vinegar. And we were on the bottom shelf because we were a no-name company, even though we were invited into the stores by the manager of the Santa Cruz Whole Foods. He saw us at a festival. loved the products, wanted us to be in their shows or in in his store. So we got into that store and the store in Santa Rosa. And after 4 months, we didn't sell a bottle in 4 months. And we know that without demoing our products, they're going to sit on the shelves forever. And we're a no-name brand. This is not fancy packaging that you would see at most stores with a great big fancy label and all the stories about there. We need this label to fit every size bottle from the smallest to the largest. And that's why our label is so small on the big one, because it fits on the little bottle. Because
that makes sense.
Because we've got 50 flavors in 5 sizes, and the price of labels is through the roof. So we said we're going to keep our packaging to a minimum. We don't want to be in stores because stores don't sample. And if you're not going to sample it, you're not going to buy it. So that's why farmers markets and street festivals have been so successful for us.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Jessie is one of our 3 moderators on the line, and she's commenting. There's a whole bunch of symbols here. Hashtag exclamation point and hashtag $, and I think that was represent curse words. And it's directed to Santa Cruz Whole Foods because she lives near there. She's so disappointed in them for not hanging in there with you.
I love getting all these behind the scenes stories though. Isn't this great, you guys?
Okay.
Don't you like getting the inside scoop?
Yeah, now
on
you guys
things?
need to mind your time. Do you have any other
I love it.
any other posted questions we need to deal with? Because we're going to be running out of time here.
No, I
soon.
think that's everything about the vinegars
Okay.
that I had.
All right.
So this has been absolutely delightful, Thomas. We do miss seeing you. Hopefully we'll get to see you before the year is out. Do you think, will there be a Sacramento festival in the fall?
Right now, the Sacramento show was moved to Roseville the weekend before. We just don't know if Cal Expo is going to be open. If Cal Expo is open, the Harvest Festival should happen, and I'll be there, along with my darling bride, Ethel. And if it goes to Roseville, then we're not going to go because the attendance is just too low there. And we're so busy. We're not going to go to any event that isn't really worth it for us.
Right.
So
well, that makes sense. You only have so much time. You have to make it count.
That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for spending an hour with us. We're sorry about the little blip in the middle. We don't know what happened, but we're glad that we got you back on. And tell Ethel hello for us. Well, he didn't leave. We left, I guess.
Yeah.
We left. But tell Ethel that we said hello, and we hope we get to see you guys.
It'll be a lot of fun when we do get back, and people can come to our facility in Ukiah and come in and sample our flavors now, because things are definitely going to open up, and we're happy to have people come in. They can sample any flavor they want to at our facility. And as everybody knows, we put in 2 of these cute little free samples in with every order. Please tell us what you want for your samples in the order notes box at the end of the checkout page.
Yeah.
Just click on there, put Nutmeg Notebook, and tell us what 2 flavors you'd like, and we will include them every time you order.
That's fantastic.
So do you want to reiterate that for everybody in case they were in a chat?
Oh, in case people were in a chat mode. So you guys, when you go to order from California Balsamic, it's californiabalsamic.com. And with your order, you will get 2 of these little samples, and you get to choose what flavor you want to try. And so just put Nutmeg Notebook in the little message box and the names of the 2 flavors that you want, and Thomas will send that out to you.
So Thomas, we're going to let you go. Thank you for hanging in with us this evening. And then we're going to finish up with our open Q&As. Which if
the
you want
camera's over here for you to talk
to.
to.
I'm talking to your picture over here in front of Tami.
I'm over here
in front of her. So anyway, or you can jump over to the YouTube channel and watch what's going on there. But we're going to take care of any general questions or anything.
Super.
Forward here.
Thank you both
so much. This was so much fun. You're just such a delight. Love all your stories, and wish you well.
Okay. So when
you both.
Thomas logs off, we should go back to full screen.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, you guys. So I got a couple of questions that were submitted not about vinegars. So Barbara wrote and said that she made the darn good sausages, and those are wrapped in the rice wrappers that you use for spring rolls. And she said they were pretty sticky, so she stuck them in the refrigerator for a couple of hours before she attempted to brown them in a nonstick skillet, but they really stuck, and the rice wrapper stuck and pulled off. And so she wanted to know what she did wrong, or is there any way. She didn't try to cook all of them, so she still has some left. So it kind of sounds like you may have gotten the rice wrappers a little bit too wet. And also, she did say that she felt like it took a really long time to get them cooked. Remember that the ingredients, the oatmeal and all of that you've used to make those is cooked. You cooked it in the pan. And so really all you're doing is warming that up and browning the outside of them. But it kind of sounds like you might have gotten the rice wrappers a little bit too wet. And if they get too much moisture, then there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. You can leave them in the fridge and see if that dries out, because when you make spring rolls, they do tend to dry out in the refrigerator. And if they were really sticking to your pan, maybe your pan isn't, like I use the Scan pan for that, which is a ceramic nonstick surface, and it does really well at browning things without any oil or any moisture added. But I know that I can't cook those in just any nonstick pan. And you might, if you have an air fryer, you might try to air fry them, but I would put them on a little piece of parchment paper with maybe with some holes poked in it, because I would be afraid that they might stick to the wire rack for the air fryer. So I'm so sorry that happened. You can make those sausages without the wrapper. If you look at my breakfast sausage recipe, which is on the blog, it's the same recipe, but without the rice wrapper. And then you can just make them into patties. And then I just brown those in my ceramic skillet, and it works beautifully. And then you don't have to deal with the rice wrappers. So I'm so sorry that that happened. I really get disappointed when the recipes don't work out for someone. And then I have another question.
We got a couple live questions. You want to do another?
Let me just finish this one.
Okay.
And then Marie wanted to know if Holland Bowl still had the perfectly imperfect sale on bowls going on. And no, they don't. They ran out of the imperfect bowls. And so probably more towards fall, when they have more of the imperfect bowls in stock again, because as they're cutting bowls, that's how they discover that they have some imperfect ones. And they will probably do something again in the fall, or when they have enough inventory to do that again.
We'll announce it loudly when the time comes.
Yeah, and then I'll have one more question, but let's do the live ones then.
Okay. All right. Do we know what the shelf life of vinegars are in an unopened bottle?
Oh, that would have been a good question for Thomas.
He had left already, or I didn't. If it came in after. I didn't spot it because
I don't know that, but I will ask him that.
Okay.
The shelf life of an unopened.
Yeah. And actually, bottle. If you want to,
I can text him right now, actually, and he'd probably answer that.
Okay. All right. You give him a text, and then I'll talk to Mary Jean asked about getting recipes, find recipes on the Nutmeg Notebook site. Specific to vinegars, there's some recipes that you probably employ vinegars. So some of the pictures we showed, there's hundreds of recipes on the site, but I think maybe she's asking particular to vinegars.
I don't have like a category called what to do with vinegars. I don't have that. We've talked about it in various videos.
Right.
So we have a couple other videos about.
Yeah, there's one called if you search on YouTube search bar Nutmeg Notebook all about vinegar. There's one video that's come up that talks about all the different things we do with vinegars, and that may give you. There might be some recipe ideas on that. That one was done.
Yeah, but pretty much, like you don't really have to have a specific recipe to use them. I mean, it's just when you've put together something in a bowl or on a plate, or you've air fried something and you want it to have just a little more flavor, then just, drizzle a little bit of the vinegar on it, and you'll be amazed at how absolutely delicious it is. And you don't have to have specific recipes. But if you want specific recipes, then go to Thomas's website, californiabalsamic.com, and click on recipes. And he said he has, a ton of them on there right now, SOS free.
Well,
Plant-based
Thomas
recipes.
is here. He's here in the
Oh,
chat.
great.
So yeah, Thomas, if you can answer that,
Oh,
that shelf life
18
thing.
months after opening.
Okay, all right.
But what about not opened? Somebody asked, what if it's not been opened? Do you know how long it would last on a shelf if it was not opened?
Okay, here's a new message from Janet McDonald. A while
Okay.
ago, you had a video where you were using a bag of dried mushrooms for a recipe in the iPod. I found the mushrooms at Costco this week. Now I can't find your recipe. Help, please.
That's your dump soup. Or was
Steamed
it
vegetables.
or steamed vegetables?
That was
I think
Nutmeg
you're
Notebook
right.
steamed vegetables. It's one of our early where we just take the cruciferous crunch, bag of cruciferous crunch from Trader Joe's.
Yes.
And dump that in there and some of these dried mushrooms. And you get, and technically they're probably like boiled cruciferous crunch because we're not using the steaming basket in there like I do for my steamed vegetable soup at lunch most days. We're putting it down in the water because I want those mushrooms to get into the liquid. The liquid's blowing up through the vegetables and it's creating the most wonderful pot liquor. So you eat the steamed or boiled vegetables and then you get this nice tall glass of pot liquor, which is super delicious. I'm not sure, I would probably be happy to give Tami this vegetables and I would drink the pot liquor. And we learned that recipe from Chef AJ because the reverse is true. She gives Charles the vegetables and she drinks the pot liquor.
Yes. Okay, so I did hear back from Thomas said that if you have an unopened bottle of vinegar in your pantry, that the shelf life is about 2 years.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps.
Okay.
More questions there, or I have a submitted.
Go ahead. I think I'm caught up.
Okay, so Georgiana wrote us an email, and she wanted to know if we would be doing any group classes or any group get-togethers since COVID is starting to wind down. Do we have anything planned? And we don't have anything planned at this time. We're not going to do any more cooking classes in our home, we have decided. If we are able to find a venue where we can have people come for a cooking class not in our home, then we might do that.
And we're going to reach actually more folks by doing something online with our cooking class. And it could be a combination of where we're filming something that has live students, but we're not going to let that get in the way of doing an online cooking class. There's been a lot of requests for that. And Tami actually has an outline lined up of what she wants to present.
Yeah, I have like three, I have recipes for like 3 classes, but it's a matter of finding the time to do that. Yeah. And
Tiffany's saying thank you for the Vitamix processor demo. You're welcome. That was
let's talk about that too.
Yeah, she uses that a lot.
Because we got a question already today.
Yeah, and I put an answer on the site, and I don't know if any individuals around for the live here. When we fill out, we purchased this Vitamix processor because Tami didn't like hauling around the great big one that we have, the old Cuisinart. And it's a simple attachment that goes on our pre-existing Vitamix Ascent base. And it looks simpler and easier to clean was one of the big things. So we bought that. I don't remember, did we buy it online or from Costco?
We got it at Costco.
We bought it at Costco. So
in February. I've been using it since February.
And then we did a video. We actually shot parallel videos on because those are sold on Amazon. We of course have the Nutmeg Notebook Amazon page, and so we did a short video meeting Amazon's requirements to actually post that on our Amazon site. Since they recently invited us to start doing product videos. And again, we do product videos on products we use that we like, that we're willing to endorse with our, because we're satisfied with them. But to get to my point, the YouTube requires, it has this button that I push when I do an upload. That is this a sponsored video? That's where a company pays you money to do a video about a product, whether you use it or not. It's like it's like television where they pay actors to do advertisements and they don't know anything about the product. There's another level where it's a placed product, where a product has been given to you to use in your video. And again, on TV, that's a common thing, product placement. When you see an actor holding a can of soda, it's not an accident. That soda company is paying for that. We don't do that kind of paid placement. There's two more levels. Amazon does occasionally sell us products, or it's not sell us, send us a product. And if it's something that we use and like and can advocate, then we will show that product. We'll talk about that product. And we'll also state that Amazon sent it to us for show and tell.
And we haven't done one of those yet,
Yeah.
but we'll have one coming up.
We have one coming up because they sent us a air fryer that's half the price of the one that we have. And I thought, well, okay, that could be a value to people to have an air fryer that costs half the price of what we spent. And then the fourth tier is endorsement. And in the comments of the video from the Vitamix, it says if you're endorsing a product, and so that's like the last piece of description on this. Well, Tami is in my interpretation of YouTube's guidelines endorsing, saying this is a good product. And to me, that's an endorsement. So I clicked the button that says this is
an endorsement,
a placement or a paid ad or an endorsement. And ours is an endorsement. It's not the first two. So we've been having a debate.
Oh, but somebody, what brought this up?
Oh, they were disappointed that we were doing paid advertising or paid.
Somebody left us a comment.
Paid promotion. No, we're not doing paid promotion. The only time we get compensation is if somebody clicks on an affiliate link for something that we like and use and advocate and endorse, and they actually buy it and get value for their money, and then we get a small commission. And that's how we fund all of our expenses for producing videos and blog posts at Nutmeg Notebook. That's what
allows us to do all of this for free.
And put some food on the plate too.
Right.
So that's how we earn our living currently. So, but no, we're not doing paid. We get offers from companies that
all
want
the
to
time, and we turn them down.
Hundreds of dollars to do a pretend video about their product. And it's like, no, we don't use that product. Yeah. We can't endorse it.
Yeah. So to get to the point is we purchased the Vitamix food processor attachment with our own money, and we were not asked to do the video. We did the video because I am so thrilled with how great it works and how I like it so much better than my Cuisinart. But today someone misunderstood and was accusing us of starting to do paid advertisements on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. And if a company sends us anything for free to try, we always disclose that. Like Milthy sent us a pressure cooker. We disclosed that. Milthy sent us this to try. And what we tell the companies when they offer us something like that is we will try it. If we like it, we will do a video. And if we don't like it, we won't do a video because we don't want to hurt your company. I'm not going to do videos saying bad things about somebody's
We've only had one time where
product.
I had to send a product back.
And we have,
we thought it would be useful and it was useless. And so we sent it back to them and said, thanks, but no thanks.
We said we can't do a video on this and we would just like to return that. Well, we've done that twice.
Okay, a couple of other important pieces of, Karen, is this live chat being recorded to listen to later? Yes, it is. So this whole video from when we began will be left up as a live video for replay. Colleen asking, are you not going to Cleveland in June anymore? Do you want to address that for us?
Yes, that is true. That was on my list of things to talk about today. So we will not be able to go to the National Health Association convention that is being held in June. I was supposed to be a presenter at it, but as many of you know, I am suffering from chronic pain from sciatic nerve, and this has been going on since March of 2020, and I'm still having problems, and I am in some treatment right now where I go 3 times a week, and it's a very slow process for me, because if they try to do too much with me at one time, then it makes my pain worse. And so I can't travel right now. So I can do short car rides, but there's no way I can do a road trip or get on a plane for hours.
Yeah.
So we're very disappointed.
Yeah.
We're sad. I told Tom he could go without me if he still wanted to go, and he was like, "Yeah, no way. I'm not gonna." I said, "Well, you could go and you could still be with everybody."
And then I would have 250 people asking me, "Where's Tami?" I don't need to do that.
So we're very sad, but I wasn't getting better, and I needed to cancel.
We didn't want to wait to the last minute, hoping for the best, and then leave the Hubermans in a lurch with that time slot. So
right, and I am having some improvement, but it's a really slow process for me. I like take 2 steps forward and then 1 step
and sitting on
back.
that much on an airplane would have set you back a lot, even if you were feeling almost better. It would have been a serious setback. So yeah, we can't take the risk of that right now.
We can't. I'm hoping that I get better, but we will not be going anywhere.
Yeah, Mary Jean, thank you, Tami. So yeah, we will hope for another year. We thought we were going to go last year. That didn't happen. We were excited about going this year, and so now we have this. So we'll make it there someday. Mary Jean is asking, what is the more inexpensive air fryer? She wants to order one, but some are very expensive. It is the Ninja, and it's one that folds up against your backsplash and then folds down when you use it. So it's not such a counter space hog. That seems really interesting. So
we haven't even taken it out of the box.
It's literally in the box, though, because we wanted to, I know we don't like unboxings, but some people want to know what's in the box. So we're going to film the unboxing, but I'm going to put that at the end of the video and have the demonstration part be in the front. Those of you that have watched the Culinary one that we did earlier, or released earlier today, the unboxing of that was in front. And that was kind of our first kind of serious unboxing. We didn't really care for it that much because it was choppy and like, okay, we're opening the box.
I do not like the box opening.
So yeah, weigh in on that. If you like, I have, when I've been looking at video gear and I see some technical guru on YouTube doing an unboxing, I do watch them because I'm interested in what all the bits and pieces are that come in the box. So I told Tami, well, there is some value to it because I actually watch some of them for technical gear. So Jesse's saying that Crocs are very happy with their Ninja air fryer.
I think they did a review on it
a while back. Yeah.
So we thought we would do a review on it so that we can compare it to the Breville and
how it behaves and stuff.
How it behaves, and let people know, because it might be a more economical option for people.
Okay, here's an important question. Joyce asking about the Cuisinart. This is really important. It only fits on
the Cuisinart. No, the Vitamix.
The Vitamix, not Cuisinart. The Vitamix food processor fits on the Ascent series or the Venturist series. It does not fit on other models. If you try to put it on another model, then your warranty on everything is voided. Vitamix does not want you to do that, and it has to do with their smart sensor system where the base knows what attachment you're putting on top, so it knows what speed parameters to allow and that sort of thing. So
only the Ascent series, and the Venturist series.
Yeah, any submodel within those series.
Yes.
Because there's several models within ours is one of the Ascent models.
So it is, you can buy it from Vitamix, you can buy it from Amazon, or you can buy it at Costco.
Yeah, and we have links.
We bought ours at Costco.
We have links in the show notes of that video, probably this one too, to our Amazon shop page. It is listed in there. And then at the bottom of the newsletter I sent today, the Vitamix link is all the way down at the bottom of the newsletter I sent out. And it's on the show notes of this video as well. Because we are Vitamix affiliates, although most of them that people get through us do come from our Amazon shop page.
Yeah. And Costco does have the model that the food processor will work on.
Yes. And they are, and our local one's actually showing them both right now.
Yeah, it's on a what do they call that? A roadshow?
Yeah.
It's on the roadshow for Costco right now. And I am super happy with it. I am using a food processor so much more since I got that because one, I didn't like lugging out the heavy Cuisinart that I have, because I have one that has a very heavy metal base. And especially with my chronic pain issues, just lifting that and moving it has been really difficult for me. And so I really like the fact that my Vitamix blender sits out on the counter all the time, and you're using that base. And so all I have to do is take the food processor container over and put it on there. And it's super easy to clean. And the Cuisinart, the lid on the Cuisinart is so difficult to clean. And so a lot of times I would just do things by hand instead of using the Cuisinart. And now that I've got a working, easy, lightweight, easy to clean food processor,
I've noticed you use it a lot more than your old one.
I do. I use it so much more. I'm like, oh,
there's much more hummus in my life now. Okay.
I'll just use this.
Okay. Alyssa says that she likes the box openings.
Oh, interesting.
And then there's a conversation that Jesse says that Vitamix are showing more pictures depicting not animal products, the more vegan products on the outside of boxes, or at least one panel.
Even on that box, it talked about whole food, plant-based cooking.
Well, one of the founders, Mr. Barnard of Vitamix is
that his name?
John Barnard. I mean, he's probably retired now, but he was one of the, he goes to the NHA. Mm-hmm. He's one of Mark and Wanda's friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're very, Vitamix is very tuned into plant-based and all of the use we get out of that device to eat the way we do. The anniversary cookbook is disappointing. Too much oil and recipes. Yeah, they're not SOS free.
The what?
A lot of oil in the Vitamix.
Cookbook. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question about, because one of you has the Ninja, how hot does it get? We get that question a lot on our Breville. Somehow there's a fear that it's really, really hot. There are parameters about keeping 6 inches away or 4 inches away on the sides and the back and whatnot. Y'all can see where that thing sits over there behind Tami. It's against stone on its right side.
2 walls.
And then I've got a big air gap on the right, and then I've got a legal air gap on top and a legal air gap behind. So we'll see how hot the Ninja gets when we try it out.
Yeah. And you know what I don't like about the box opening, me doing it and being filmed, is I don't know what's going to happen when I pull things out. So it's the fear of the unknown part of it for me.
We should set the Tom and Tami cam, this one, where they can see it, and we can open it together.
That would be good.
And that way we can, it might have some entertainment value as we struggle to get everything out of the box.
Plus, like when I did the unboxing for the food processor, the Vitamix food processor, it was just awkward to me. Like cooking, I can do. I know what my next step is going to be.
And I'm excited about unwrapping the plastic parts out of the plastic wrappers.
It was just, it was just awkward. And to be, I was excited about it, but it was just, it was awkward.
You'll notice when you watch that video that there's a lot of fade to black and comes back. I edited out a lot of awkwardness. And so what you got left over was the good footage, hopefully, in between all the awkwardness. So enjoy.
I didn't want to film that part. Anyway.
Okay, well, Jesse's even saying that. That's what Tom's magnificent editing is for.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, I worked for that one. So please forgive my fade to blacks. I was compensating for the talent. No, she does. You know what? She does so amazing on camera. She is the easiest person to edit.
I have done some videos in one take, from beginning to end.
That's true. She can go 8-9 minutes. I don't have to. I already just trim the 2 ends and I'm done.
Yeah.
So I was just pulling your chain, sweetie, sweetheart.
Okay.
Please don't yell at me after the video. We got to get off. This is going downhill.
No, it isn't. I'm having fun.
Okay. All right. I see our name coming up. Jessie says, "Aha, she knew it." Okay.
Aha, she knew what?
Okay, thank you. Have fun. Held off on the food processor, but we would really like to get one, Joyce says. Okay.
I highly recommend it. Okay. And it is less expensive at Costco.
Okay, here's what I saw.
If you have a membership.
Melissa says that she totally gets the feeling of fear of the unknown as you're opening the box first time, not knowing what you're getting into. But that's what makes it a genuine experience, because it's like, oh, we can't open this. Oh, I need a bigger knife. Oh.
Yeah, like I wanted
I
to
just-
cut
I just-
open the box before we started. He was like, no, you have to do that on camera.
Oh, I just scratched the top with my box cutter.
I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this.
Okay. All right. Well, listen.
But
I think we should
I
get off
think
air.
we should get off air.
Okay. Well, everybody, moderators, thank you so much for keeping things going, especially while we were away.
We don't have any idea what happened, but we have had just like spooky internet for today and yesterday,
Yeah.
because
Or
just like I'm working away on the computer and then all of a sudden it said no internet, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just did all this.
No, I think we have a router
work.
issue. We'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Because the 5G keeps failing. We have to keep going back to the 50, the slower one. Okay.
Did you post the blog post too to go with that video?
Yes.
I got it all done, but did you
I
push post?
cross-referenced them, yeah.
Okay. Because I did a blog post to go with the Vitamix food processor video to show you all the different things that I've been using it for lately, and we've had it since February, so I had a good amount of time to experiment with it and use it for lots of different things, so I could really see how it worked, so I could do a fair review. Oh,
Yeah,
there it
it's
is.
posted. It's
Fantastic.
posted.
Fantastic. Yeah. So
Okay.
I hope you guys will check that out, because I spend a lot of time creating those blog posts. So
Jesse says it's the perennial argument. Is it the director or the actor that's the issue? We're
well,
a team.
sometimes both.
We're a team effort. Okay, they're
We
saying
are.
good night.
I
So
couldn't
are
do
you.
it without you, and you couldn't do
Good
it
night,
without me.
Tami.
Good night, Tom. So I'm Tami,
And I'm Tom.
and we help you get
Get
healthy.
healthy.
Oh, and stay healthy, one meal at a time.
Oh,
But I
what?
wanted to tell them who's on next week.
Go fast. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
so I'm sorry, you didn't let me finish. So next week, you guys, we have Laura Armitage is going to be back with us. And you'll remember we interviewed her a couple months ago. She has a fantastic weight loss story. But what she's going to do for us next Sunday is she is going to show us how she packs to go on trips and how she eats whole food, plant-based, SOS free while she is on trips. And so it should be great. She is a minimalist. She packs a backpack. It doesn't matter where she's going or how long she's going to stay. And she is going to show us, she's going to get out the stuff she takes with her and show us how she packs it. So I'm super excited about that because I'm a major overpacker. And so I'm hoping that I can learn a lot from Lori, whichever name you want to call her.
So we'll see you next week with Laura Armitage. We're going to learn some practical packing.
Yep, and
Okay.
tips on how to travel. All right, that's it, you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye. We already did
I didn't get to do my part.
oh, what part did, I'm Tami.
And I'm Tom.
We did this part.
No, you didn't. I didn't. you keep messing it up. Let's go.
Are you going to edit this?
No. You're Tami.
I'm Tami,
And I'm Tom.
and we help you
Get healthy and stay healthy.
one meal at a time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, you guys.